I'm Vince DiMascio. I'm the Chief Information and Technology Officer for Berry Appleman Leiden. So our RPA, and this we've kind of deployed it in this way, where you start with the core capability you get out of the box, which is deterministic, conditional processes. So if you know there's a defined path, then you can dispatch an automated system to follow that path. When the outcomes become probabilistic, it's then that you want to include human subjectivity, either in the form of a model that's been trained and approved by humans, or through introducing human review along the process chain. So we do both. We have some systems where the automation will take steps on its own based on tried and true models that we've developed. And we have others where we suggest and draft and propose what the next step should be, and then put that forward for human review in a manner that's much more efficient than a human having to do the research that would be required to develop such a draft. We're already seeing material value in our RPA investment, and that's coming through. It's not so much about revenue growth as it is about revenue growth as a byproduct of exceptional client service that comes out of this. So we have sophisticated technology clients. Many of our clients are the big tech companies, and they want a user experience that's phenomenal. And that means self-service, that means on-demand anytime. And so if you have a robot available to do work, whether it's reviewing material that a foreign national would submit in connection with a visa application, or looking up statuses for applications in progress, things like that, that happens in real time for us. And that's something that is just not it's a sustainable model with human staff. So we're doing things that we couldn't otherwise do, really, with robots to deliver client service. Quality enhancements is another obvious. Automated systems don't transpose digits when they're typing things into other systems. Speed is another, right? It moves much more quickly than any human finger can move. So those are the value adds that we're getting from the RPA investment. And then with machine learning, it's similar. Right, it's the similar capabilities with the user experience. For example, you can upload a passport and the system will say, this looks like a passport, here's the information, is this right? Without having to ask a person to enter information. Likewise with other document types. And that's a user experience enhancement that sets us apart and that our clients love. Also on the sort of back office side with HR, IT facilities and those systems, we have, in those operations, we have systems that are specific to each of those business units, for example, that should be integrated. But the cost of integrating them is really high, and therefore it doesn't happen. With RPA, we can make that integration happen without having to spend the dollars it takes to enable an API and write the code to connect those systems. So that's one example of a big lift you get from RPA acting as the glue between systems, and likewise the traditional processes that you hear about often with RPA we've made those manifest at our organization: employee onboarding, separation, so that we comport with our policies around data privacy, turning off access to systems, things like that. That have there's an operational efficiency angle there, and there's a risk management angle there that are both very important to us as a law firm. It's the solution that's going to hold for us. The rate of change of API-based systems, is not much slower than the rate of change of UI-based systems. A lot of the UI-based systems, including the systems we build and maintain, are single-page apps with RESTful endpoints, and therefore the UI may not even matter even if you're using HTTP to connect and do the work. So we're finding that that big risk, the scary risk that people have been talking a lot about, though the UI changes and everything breaks, is not as scary as some make it out to be. The deployment pipeline, our security operations center, in IT specifically, right? We're looking at using bots in both of those places. So, for example, if a server goes out, let's say an email notification or some system notification occurs, then our bot will cordon that system off and do the diagnostics that a entry level or associate level security operations center employee might do. And that then the report will always be complete. They'll fingerprint the system, they'll identify what symptoms they've seen, and they'll lock down the network and forward the report to a human who's then armed with a reliable set of information that's already been very recently and accurately collected by the bot, so that that person can take the next steps that require the subjective human element. And that's big for us.